So the next thing we're going to do, node 12 stretch. This is running as the root user of the container. In general, don't run things as root. I mean, I think that's kind of a good thing in general just to learn, like for like system security and stuff like that. Like if someone takes over your computer and it's being run as the root user, then they can just do whatever they want to your computer. So it's kind of the principle of least power, right? So you want to create a user that all that user can do is run your server and can do nothing else, right? So if someone does eventually end up taking over your container, they can only do things that that user is allowed to do. They can't do root things, right? If you're not familiar with like what root users do in Linux, again, there's a plethora of reading out there, so it's probably worth, but they're the god of that container, right? That's the gist. So something we could do here is we could say user node. One of the cool things that node, like the node container ships with, is it has another user on it called node that's built specifically for this purpose. But know that there's nothing special that this is called node or this is called node. It's the creators of this container created a user called node, and that user is in a user group called node. It's a little confusing, but suffice to say, like, if I start running like a Ruby container, right, there won't necessarily be a Ruby user on that. I don't want that connection to click in your head. That's all I'm trying to say. So now I think this should work, and this would be executing as the node user. But anytime that we run copy like this is still going to copy it as the root user, which means that this user has no permission to modify or execute or any of that kind of stuff. So we do have to run it. I'm going to switch those two, first of all, so that user node comes up here first. And so we have to do dash dash, and luckily VS Code, it's got my back and says like, you can either do chown or you can do from, and I'm going to do chown, and you have to give it the user and the group. So I'm going to say node colon node because the name of the user is node, the name of the group is node. And so now this is being copied over and it will be owned by this user node. I don't know why this is, oh, that's because I was doing that. There we go. Okay. So now, if I do this run again, or docker run build, there we go, that one. Everything's all good to go. It's putting in user node, but check this out. So if I run it again, and I say, who am I? It's going to say now node, right? So it's being executed as the node user. But just to kind of like prove my point to you, if I come back over here and I comment this line out, and I build it again, and I say, who am I? What do you expect it to say? Root, right? You're the root user by default.
So the user name, like, what's the discover process on that? Would that be the inspect command?
You could, yeah, you could definitely find that through inspect. I'd probably just find it through like the documentation on Docker Hub, or in other words, there's not really a specific way of finding that out. Honestly, I'd probably just do what I showed you, which is just run who am I.
Gotcha.
Later in the course, I'll show you actually how to create users. It's like, for example, if you're running it directly out of Ubuntu, like they don't have any users created for you, so you have to do it yourself. It's not very hard. It's basically one command. And I can never remember it, so I always Google it. Okay, so quick note on copy. There's another command here which people get confused with, and I just wanted to address that. There's another one called add. And if I did this, and you can do the chown as well with that, this would also work, right? And actually, at this moment in time, these things do, line 7 and line 5 do exactly the same thing. So add has some like extra functionality associated with it. It does work for your local file system. I would say if you're doing stuff like what we're doing right here, where it's just with the local file system, use copy. It's safer. It does less, and doing less in general is a better thing for you if it does the thing that you need it to do. However, what's great about add is add can go out to the network. It can download a file off the network, right? So if I say like add from github.com, this particular file, it will go out, download the file, spit it out there. So that's one thing that add will do for you. And add will also automatically unzip any zip that it gets, right? So if you, or a tar, right? So if I say add this tar, it'll download it and unzip it immediately. Whereas if I had done copy, I'd have to go in there and do a run immediately after that to unzip it. So if you're doing anything on the network or you need anything unzipped, use add. For 100% of everything else, use copy. We won't be using, I don't think we use add for the rest of the class, but it's good for you to know that it's out there. So the next thing I want to do is, where is this index.js being copied? The root directory of the project. Not very organized, so I'm not going to suggest that you do that. So we're going to add a command right above this and saying workdir, and we're going to put this on home node, right, which is the home directory of the node user. And then I'm going to just create one on the fly called code, right? I'm going to put all my code into home node code. People put it in code, people put it in source. Actually, source is probably more common, but I'm going to stick to code because that's what my notes say. Just wherever. It's good to put it inside of like the home directory or something like that because we know for sure the node user owns its own home directory. It's good. Good place to put it. So to prove a point here, I'm going to say pwd, and this will tell you I'm in slash, right? So I'm in the slash directory. This is what it was in before. And now if I run docker build again, and I run this again, you can see now it's in home node code. So that means all commands after that will be based in this directory, right? So that's where like your working directory, hence workdir. It's descriptive, I suppose. And again, nice thing about workdir, if it doesn't exist, it will just create it for you.